Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Yeah, this is your West Ham United versus Bournemouth Carabao Cup match reaction. 1-0, 1-1-0, and we're through to the next round, and we're pretty much out of the cup because we're facing Liverpool again. We're at Anfield again. If you're looking at the draw, it seems to be a big coincidence that all the big six teams are at home against some very weak sides. But listen, we're going to discuss the Bournemouth game for a little bit. Not going to go as long as we usually do. We'll go along for an hour, depending on how much there is to talk about. To be honest, there isn't really much to talk about within the game, but we will try and talk about all the key points as well. Make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. The social medias originally are GVO Mics at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Big up to Fuego, the first commenter. People hating on Sadibo. It's because they're stupid. Big up to Damon's Footy Vlogs. The new format is so shit. What a Carabao Cup format. What is the new format? Why is there no good fixtures? Is it the Southern versus Northern thing? Is that what it is? Or are you talking about something else? Because I know there's a new thing with the Champions League and Europa League and Conference League and stuff with the Carabao Cup. I don't know what the new format is. Is it just what's it called, the Northern Southern thing? Because I think they've had that for a while, but I don't know whether they made it more specific, or maybe there's something I don't know about. But there was this was the thing, like when we come up against Bournemouth today is one of the main games because it's a Premier League clash. That match would when I was talking to some people about what they thought of the match, everyone was pretty much saying the same thing. Oh, is that a thing? Right. If that's a format, well, we can clearly. Oh, that's shit then. That's dog shit then. Jesus Christ. Well, that's why everyone's got such an advantage. We've got fucking Liverpool away. Oh, again, by the way, again, like last year. The difference is that last year we played a second string team, which was the most annoying thing about the whole thing. Is the fact that David Moyes put out a second string team at Anfield because he wanted to throw away the cup. And people use the excuse, but we're in Europe. Well, we're not in Europe this time, so give them a fucking go at least. At least give us something against Liverpool this time. But to be honest, if we play like the way we did today against Liverpool, then pack your bags. Don't even turn the TV on. Everyone can tell that this is going to be so rigged. Well, yeah, I didn't even know that was a new rule, but that's a bunch of bollocks if that's a new rule. But to be honest with you today, I saw more positives in the first half than I did the second half, and we weren't even good in the first half. Like, we won because of a handball goal. And do I care that Bournemouth got robbed by us? No, because I've seen us get robbed by Bournemouth before. So I don't really give a shit. I don't use referees as an excuse anymore when it comes to my club, so I don't care about other clubs either. To be completely honest with you, VAR rob us all. So cry more about VAR. Like, I don't want VAR as a neutral watching football, and there wasn't even any VAR today. But you know what I mean. We got Barrow at home. Really wanted QPR. Yeah, obviously. I mean QPR. The police. There would have had to be a lot of police for that. That would have been a good tie though. But whatever. Especially if QPR got the home leg. But today was a bunch of shit. And I'm gonna get into why. I'm gonna refer to Souček as number 28 again today because he didn't fucking score. Also, good luck against City next week. I don't think you wish us too much luck, but I don't think you're going to need any luck. We're going to need all the luck in the world. But big up to yourself, and obviously big up to City. Just go and win the league again, and don't allow Arsenal to win it. That's all I want, and that's all I think. All I think will happen. To be completely honest, but this game was, wow, so boring to watch. It was just the same shit as the Villa game. It was pretty much. I pretty much feel like I've come off the same vibe as how the Villa game was, where we were long balling it, and whenever we put the passes together, it was down the wings. Luckily, we have some good players to bail us out, but that lineup today. As soon as I saw the midfield, I was like, ugh. And this manager is not helping himself when it comes to the fucking lineups. Will you be watching us tomorrow? I forgot you lot were playing. Uh, I don't. Probably not because you lot are already winning. So probably no. Um, excuse me. Sorry. Hi, Mike. Big up to yourself, Mustafa. We'll do everything to stop Arsenal. I fucking hope so. Did you go to the game? I did go to the game. Uh, I just thought, fuck it, I'll go to the Carabao Cup game. It was cheap as well, so why not? Uh, I don't regret going because I'd rather watch it over there than watch it at home. But because of how high up I sit as well, you get to see everything tactically as well, and it kind of makes you more nervous about the game, and that's what it made me more nervous about last season's game because of how bad we were tactically. But even with this setup, like it's don't get me wrong, is it's better than what we saw last season, but that's not saying much. It's like a spicy David Moyes football. And yes, it's 3 games in. People are going to be able to, have some patience and all this. Aaron Bissaka settled in well. I'll go to Aaron Bissaka in a minute because he was probably the only positive. How was the game? Shit. Yeah, we won, but there was nothing positive to take from that, apart from the fact that there was times where I think if we play the right players, we could play well. But judging by what his manager's doing so far, I don't think he's going to play the right players. So, 3 games and 2 wins. Why are you complaining? I hope you're being sarcastic. Sevilla are a good team. They'll want to push us tomorrow. They're a good team, but bro, don't even try and hype it. Come on, let's be honest. Somerville Fulcrook played. Unfortunately, Fulcrook barely got the ball, and Somerville barely got the ball, but that's because of the midfield that was played today. Kilman is looking class, looking like an astute signing at the moment. Yeah, like Kilman at the moment is been our best player so far in these few games. Like he hasn't done much wrong at all. He was getting a lot of shit in pre-season from opposition fans, such as the Palace and Wolves fans, and they're both on 0 points. So obviously big ups to the shitty little clubs. But Kilman so far played really well against Aston Villa, played really well against Crystal Palace, and played really well today. And to be fair, Kilman was a positive of today as well. The reason why our defence was so tight and knit was because of him. If we didn't have him, we would have conceded at least one in the second half. But let's get on to the first half first. The first half was more positive than the second half. I can see some better stuff in terms of trying to play through the team. I don't know why Tadibo came off at halftime, but whatever. But when we were playing up for the back, there was a situation. Tadibo passed it to Souček, and then Souček, number 28, gave the ball away. Number 28 being Souček. I'm just trying to call him by his number again because back to type. Shock when a guy doesn't score, he plays like shit. It's almost like the goals don't mask it. But I know, like I'm complaining like we've lost, but I didn't see anything today that to give me any hope on. Oh, we're gonna do so well next week, and forget the City game. I'm worried about Fulham away. Forget the Man City game. Honestly, forget it. But the Fulham game, I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't know if we're gonna sign. If we sign another midfielder and he plays another midfielder, then cool, calm. But I better not see none of this long ball nonsense. I didn't see Lopetegui play this much long ball football at any other club at Sevilla Wolves when I watched him. I didn't know about him at Porto, Real Madrid, and all that. I didn't pay attention to him at Real Madrid because I didn't even remember who the manager was then when he was at Real Madrid. But when he was at Wolves and Sevilla, I don't remember him playing this much long ball football. I don't remember it. It was just a bunch of shit today. There's no point playing the ball out to the centre backs just to hit it long again, because and it's not even just like the fact that we're forced to play long ball football. It's the structure. It's the structure because the players aren't coming to receive the ball sometimes. The midfielders. So what are the defenders meant to do? They're going to hit the ball long, and then Fulcrook. Don't get me wrong. Fulcrook's really good in the air. By the way, he's really good in the air. But is that all we're going to give him? Just balls in the air? We might as well just re-sign Andy Carroll. Fuck's sake, man. He wasn't even playing second striker today. That's the problem. He wasn't even playing second striker. We were long balling it to Fulcrook. And even when Fulcrook doesn't play, we long ball it to Antonio, who's not good in the air when it comes to back to goal defending. He's good at just spinning defenders and chucking them away. But I don't like it. And it's not like it works because when you play long ball football, you have to win the second duel. You have to. I think you have the chance against Liverpool next round. I don't because at Anfield. If it was at home, I'd hear you, but even then, I wouldn't be exactly happy. Is it improved since Moyes ball was same long ball? Do you know what? It's improved. It's improved, by the bar is on the floor. So as much as it's a significant improvement, it says more about last season than it does this season. I didn't watch the game, by the way. Fair enough. What happened to Mavropanos? Heard he had a stinker. So Tadibo started the game with Kilman, and for some reason he came off. Like Tadibo was okay. Like he made some bad passes, had some good moments on the ball. It's his first start. He got taken off at halftime. Then Mavropanos came on and got round ragged by Evan Nilsson and was taking way too long on the ball. Way too long. The guy takes way too long on the ball, and it really pisses me off. And this is what I said. Even despite his really good performance on the weekend, he is a squad player. At best, he's a squad player. He's not a starter. He's a squad player. And everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, Mike's, like, why are you so angry? You won. Fuck off." Like seriously, like the game today, where it felt like we lost. I'm more pissed off now than when I came out the game. Like, you've got Somerville, Kudus, Paquetá, Bowen, Fulkirk, like, all in your squad. And it's going to take a while, don't get me wrong, to gel this team, but a bit of coaching would be nice with all these attacking players. I'm expecting to see much better throughout the season. And even if we don't sign a midfielder, even if we don't sign Carlos Sola, which regardless, it's looking likely that we might sign him depending on other situations that happen as well. But even if you don't sign him, I'm not trying to see Souček play. And let me not just get onto Souček. Ward-Prowse, I'm done. I'm done trying to give you any chance because last year I was very adamant that it was Moyes because you were playing on the left and number 10 and number 6, which you are not. And yes, left centre mid specifically isn't your position. It is right centre mid. But no excuses. That's still your position. And just because you don't have a left foot, that is no excuse. You're a professional footballer. It wasn't even the fact that he was giving away the ball all the time. It was the fact that you just taking too long on the ball and it's very one-dimensional. If you want the attackers to get any of the ball throughout the system, and Ward-Prowse and Souček is your number 8s, good fucking luck to the attackers. Good luck. Because Bowen got nothing. Somerville got nothing, apart from the one time Somerville got something, he skied over the bar. And yeah, you should have finished that. Don't get me wrong. Should have finished that. But he was more promising down the left. Because Kudus on the left isn't a left winger. Kudus is a man who can get on the ball in the middle or the right. I've said this millions of times from my past match previews and reactions. I've said this millions of times. But Somerville's a man who can cut in. Somerville's a man who can cut in with his right foot from the left. It gives you something different. Taking on players. The one main positive was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So the original lineup had Aaron Cresswell at left back and Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. And Cresswell got injured in the warm-up. So Wan-Bissaka came in at left back and Soufal was playing. Now, Wan-Bissaka played left back before. Under Man United a couple of times, and I think that was mainly to stop the Mohamed Salahs of the world and stuff like that. But Wan-Bissaka was still playing well, even at left back. He was actually our best player. The problem with Wan-Bissaka is his balance. He actually did well going forward. He did okay defensively today. He was actually better going forward than he was defensively today, but still got a few blocks in and stuff. And I think naturally you're going to be a bit wrong-footed when you're right-footed defending from the left-hand side and you're not used to defending on the left-hand side. That happens. But he still played well. He was actually linking up with Somerville okay as well. He was finding the passes within the pockets where he can squeeze it in to other squeeze it into other players in tight spaces, and he was actually playing really well. And that's what we've needed, with another fullback. But yeah, he was probably the only positive of today. Darren Rule, got to give it time. West Ham will get there. It's a long season. Yeah, we listen. Here's my thing. We will get there if he doesn't play the players of that let us down last season and were very mediocre last season. People are going to be like, but Souček scored. If you watch the whole 90-minute game, he played well in the second half. But everything that he did well, we already know him for, winning the ball back and stuff like that. In this system, you cannot play players that are not good on the ball. You can't get away with it. You can't get away with playing passengers, playing with 10 men. You can't because you've bought players that are good on the ball, and who are they meant to bounce off? Players that can't have any sort of ball retention within the side, that can't distribute the ball quick enough to the attackers. So it will take time, but you gotta give us a chance to give you a chance. You know what I mean? And we did well against Palace, like relatively. But it wasn't a terrific performance where I'm like, oh, we turned the corner already and we're second game week in and I can see everything going to plan. I never said that. I never said that in my match reaction. But I will give it time if I can see something. When a coach comes in, you can see what it is. You can see what the style of play is. I don't know what it is. If you're going to play the old crop, you're going to have a mishmash of profiles exactly like last year. The only difference is between this year and last year is that the players are playing in their right positions. I don't think Lopetegui will play Sofal. If he plays Sofal with a fully fit squad against, like instead of Wan-Bissaka, then fuck this guy honestly, because Wan-Bissaka is way better than Vladimir Sofal will ever be, and despite Wan-Bissaka's faults, that is saying how bad Vladimir Sofal really is. That a man who was criticized so much, even by myself, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he comes in and he looks tremendous, tremendous. I've already got a headache, Warrior. I've already got a fucking headache. Suchek is going to give Max a headache the whole season. Love my ass off. Big up though. Big up to you. Big up to yourself as well, Warrior, as always, bro. This manager is going to be the make or break of him, and it'll be the death of him, and it'll be the death of me playing the old crop. And Antonio didn't get a minute today, so I know he's playing on Saturday. I think he didn't want to play Emerson just to rest him. He didn't ideally probably wouldn't have wanted to play Paquetá either or Quidders. Bowen played 90 minutes. I actually hope he doesn't get called up to England this international break. I don't give a fuck if he's called up to England or not. Just give him a rest. I want him to get a rest. He got a holiday. Cool, but most of these internationals don't get a fucking holiday. Yeah, I'm going to City game. I've got a season ticket, so I'm going to every home game. Well, it's a bit complicated, this City game, because I'm kind of going to the game, kind of not. I don't know. I can't really explain it without revealing personal life issues. Hopefully Bowen is rested for the international break. Yeah, that's what I would like, because Bowen has not got any of the ball pretty much. Unless Max Kilman dribbles it out from the Crystal Palace team and then gives in the ball afterwards. That's my problem. That attackers are getting nothing again, and we're meant to be an attacking side. I don't like the way we press. I don't like the way we wait for the midfield to then press. We're not aggressive enough. We're not intense enough. And the high line is actually good for us. Like we actually defend quite well. Like in moments, especially. Like overall, I've not really had many problems defensively. All my problems are on the ball. All my problems are on the ball and the press. I have less problems off the ball. Really, the only big off the ball problem, as I said, is the way we press. We wait to press in midfield rather than pressing from the front properly. And I don't think our press is that bad when we go aggressive. I think we've got the right players to press. Fulcrum was very instructive today and pointing to where the players should be instructed to press and stuff like that. But I'm not going to give you credit for that, because I'm not going to single-handedly give you credit for something that you just do off the ball. The problem is with Fulcrum today, he didn't get the ball. The one time he got the ball, he did a great flick round to Somerville, and that's the move you want. And I can see, especially in the first half, that the positives were, okay, if we have better players and we play the players that we want to start, then yeah, we can put it on teams and we can be really intense and we can be really creative and stuff like that as well. But if we don't, and the manager is that stubborn that he's going to play fucking Souček all season again, and I'm going to have to, not again, but you know what I mean, he's playing again all fucking season, then I'm going to lose my shit on this channel. I'm going to lose my shit watching every fucking game if that guy is playing every game. I've had enough of seeing him play week in, week out. Week in, week out. A goal at the end of a game when we're chasing the game is not going to make up for it, because it doesn't tell me anything new that I didn't know from last season. When we play City, just go for it. If we sit back, we'll get hammered. That's the thing. Like, how many times have we watched um teams come up against Manchester City, sit back and lose multiple times? Listen, we've seen teams go for it and they lose to Manchester City, but Manchester City naturally have more space in behind. So you give it to them. The reason why it works for a team like Arsenal is because Arsenal have got probably arguably the best centre back partnership in the league. So they can defend for the draw. They've got Gabriel and Saliba, for fuck's sake. Other teams ain't got them centre backs. So go for it. Most teams have got better attackers than they've got defenders. So go for it. And I think we listen, he's going to adjust. This manager is pragmatic as fuck as well. He's just not as pragmatic as the boys nowhere near, but he is just as he has also got that pragmatic mindset at the back of his head, even though he wants to play a certain style of play. So he's going to adjust something. If we play three at the back, he needs to fuck off. I don't want to see three at the back at this club. I'm not trying to see three at the back. We didn't work in pre-season. If he reverts to a three, I do not want to see that, because we saw that at the end of this game. I think that was just to see it out. But if we see a three at the back against City, he can fuck off. Simple as that. How many times you went on a rant in this channel? Do you know what, the most times I went on a rant was last season and the season before. So the past 2 seasons, I've went on about 1 million rants. At the back end of last season, I was kind of just more ranting at people that were still defending David Moyes by the end of it, rather than how we were playing. And don't get me wrong, I ranted against Aston Villa, and I'm kind of ranting now. I'm hoping it's not for much longer this season. It's just a couple players I don't want to see anymore, and I don't like. Let's talk about his mate today as well. Big up to Damien as well. Don't fear Liverpool. Listen, we can't play like we did last season when we played our second team and we sat back and we played them bums. 4-0 and Ben. Like, I know people like 4-0, I don't care. But 4-0 and Ben Rama were playing stinking it out. We played our second team and we made it as an excuse, because otherwise we're focusing on the league more. We saw how that panned out, and focusing on Europe, we saw how that panned out. We came up against Leverkusen, we did fuck all, because we defended for 90 minutes in the first leg. We threw that Carabao Cup away. We didn't give it to them at Anfield. I don't want to make the same mistake again. I'm hoping his manager comes with a different mentality. But honestly, don't play the same fucking team again. What I saw from this lineup, this manager's like, yeah, I kind of care about the cup, but it's more if we get through. So if he lines up with the same midfield against fucking Liverpool, it's going to be the same story as last season. Yeah, that's what Moyes did. That's what our fan base is doing now. The problem is, our fan base like to do this whole Mickey Mouse Cup thing. I used to have this mentality a few years ago about, I don't care about the Carabao Cup. Why are we not caring about the Carabao Cup? We don't win trophies year in, year out. We ain't got the facilities for that. Unless you're Manchester City, you ain't got the facilities to be throwing away cups. Listen, I'm not going to have this Pablo Fornals debate, whether it's on the left or in the middle. I never really rated him as a 10. Yes, he should have played him with a 10 more. And yes, his 10 was his position and all that. But it's basic stuff. I require you to do the basics properly. 5-yard passes. And I don't think the system allowed him to thrive in that way. Don't get me wrong. And I am objective in that. But it's the way that he was overhyped by certain parts of our fan base. Yeah, our fan base will call Moyes a bottler as soon as we draw Liverpool. Yeah, do you know what? I hear that as well. My problem is the fact that I'm afraid that we won't go in with the mentality of go for it. That's what I'm more afraid of. Sorry, I'm just getting a tissue to something just spilled on my desk. But sorry. Did the new signings play this time? Yeah, I remember Saka played left back. He still played well though. Somerville played, didn't get the ball. Fulkirk played, didn't get the ball. Tadibo played for 45 minutes. Who else played? Rodriguez played for 40 minutes. Yeah, like some of the new signings played. I was excited to see Somerville, but he didn't get the ball. Only Wan-Bissaka was willing to give him the ball. Ward-Prowse on that side was pissing me off. And yes, David, you're going to be happy to say this. I'm sick of him as well. But we need better in every part of this midfield. I want Carlos Soler immediately. And yes, I was the same person that said everything after our Wan-Bissaka is a bonus. Everything after Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a bonus. But we are desperately in need for a fucking midfielder. We need to play our strongest 11. Yes, we do. You better play a strongest 11 because you have no excuses to not go for cups this season. If you pull out with a great performance at Anfield and lose, yeah, I'm not going to be happy because I'm never happy with. Oh, but look at the signs, and if we don't win, because that's the way I am. I don't take draws against anyone. I don't care because draws is not 3 points. That's my mentality. Maybe I have a stronger mentality, an unrealistic mentality. I don't care. But if you at least give me something that you're gonna give me a sign that okay, no matter what team it is that we come up against, I'm going to go for it. That's fine by me. You can be a little bit pragmatic, adjust the team a little bit. But as long as we keep our principles and still go for it, I see chances at least, apart from when we're 4-0 down and then we're actually going for the game afterwards, then I'm fine with that. And we're going to see that against Manchester City this weekend. If we we'll see if we get more than 5% possession of the ball, but we're going to see. What would be your 11 versus City? We'll go through that on Friday. We'll go through that on Friday because we've got two previews on Manchester City coming up. We've got the solo preview on Friday, and I think Hamza. I'm going to be joined by Hamza, the Man City fan, Man City hardcore YouTube channel on 8 p.m. Well, today as it's now known, but on Thursday 8 p.m. I think we'll be joined by Hamza to do the first Man City preview, and then we'll do the whole starting 11 thing against Manchester City on Friday. You know, all the normal stuff that we do on match previews, and then you're going to get your match reaction on Saturday night as well. Like we're already coming up to the international break. It's mad. It's already been 3 fixtures in. Uh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not exactly necessarily completely happy with what's going on right now, but I'd rather watch us than watch England. Fucking sick of watching it. I'm not going to watch the international games. I'll be real. Uh, if we go with this, I won't be happy. I'm not going. And you say work. I say we say worked well to an extent. To an extent, it worked. When they moved around, like when the first half of the season or the first few months of where they played, it worked well to an extent. But a lot of times we didn't have a presence in the box because Bowen was still drifting out to the right sometimes, where Kudus is and Paquetá is sometimes on the fucking touchline, and Emerson's inverting and stuff like that. I don't like Bowen up top, and I never will because I believe getting the best out of him is down the right. And I know, and I've gone through this many times of how I think we should play Bowen, Kudus, and Paquetá, but this manager ain't going to play that. This manager ain't going to play that. So one of them is either going to be on the bench or we're going to shoehorn fucking Kudus on the left for the City game. I know what you're saying. I like to an extent it did well, but that's when they were moving about. There's like the Wolves at home game last season was the perfect example of when they moved about and it worked. But I still believe it was in moments. I don't believe it was in full performances for me. That's why when Antonio came back, we were actually screaming for someone like Antonio to come back. I know what you mean, Damien. Don't get me wrong. I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, I didn't completely enjoy that front three. And people are going to think I'm mad, but it's because we had 3 midfielders in there that didn't help. Because Alvarez's role was to win the ball and Will Press and Souček were there next to him and all that. And David Moyes' tactics in a nutshell. But that's last season. I guess I hope we see something different this season. I just hope we don't go into the times where we play players out of position again. And I hope we get the best out of our attackers. It's not even just, at this point, it's not even just Fulkirk that I'm even worried about now. I'm worried about Bowen. I'm worried about Kudus. I'm worried about Somerville because they're not getting the ball enough. And in the 3 games that I've watched, and yes, it's because of the setup of the midfield, even with Paquetá there, they're not getting the ball enough. Even when Bowen scored, he didn't get the ball enough in that game. Like in the first half, he was made to just win ground duels and win aerial duels as well. My problem with Bowen, and I've been saying this for a while, when he plays with Sufal, stop running in behind all the time. Every time he has the ball. Because all he's going to do is fucking knock it long. Just go short, come really short and receive the ball. Because this can't be another instruction and we've had 2 years in a row or not even 2 managers in a row, sorry, because he's been doing it for years. Just come short sometimes. I was just fucks up our build-up play all the time. Come short, man. You know what? To be fair, maybe I'm being a bit harsh. Alvarez was also a positive. I was surprised he played just because I thought he was going to be a bit more careful and not play him at all because he's still coming back. But Alvarez, like you can see the difference from when he comes in. He's very commanding of the midfield. He's such a difference in terms of his overall presence, winning the ball, being aggressive, and we need to wrap him in cotton wool. We need to completely wrap him in cotton wool. If there's one man, like in our whole squad, that is like I would rather like never get injured. I could just cast some fucking spell of them never getting injured. It'll be him because he's probably the most integral. Rodriguez has played well when he came on again. Like we're just winning the ball back. I think he could have been better on the ball. Don't get me wrong. But every time I've watched him, just in terms of the job he's meant to do, which is be a ball winner as your deepest midfielder, he's done that well. It does have to be better on the ball for me, but I will get sometime again used to as this is a different pace. I'm always nice when it comes to that. I was nice with that with Alvarez last season. I'm going to keep the same energy for everyone as I always do. But I feel sorry for our attackers, as I've said. The likes of Somerville, Kudus, Bowen, Fulkirk, Antonio's had mainly the ball in the air. To be fair to him, even though I don't think he's been great the past two league starts he played, mainly the times he's got the ball in the air. Don't get me wrong, a couple of times he did get on the ground against Aston Villa, he did lose it, but I don't like the fact that our attackers are getting very few opportunities. We're not really testing keepers. Was it Neto that played today for Bournemouth? He didn't really get tested. Dean Henderson didn't really get tested. Martinez didn't really get tested either. And we got to test Edison because Edison can have an occasional off day, but Edison's quite underrated in general. I hate using the phrase shot stopping because that's what a fucking keeper's meant to do, but whatever. He looks like he has adapted to the PL now properly. That 45 minutes today was better than his first 45 minutes for the club last summer. Who are we talking about? Alvarez. Alvarez. Yeah, you're talking about Alvarez. Once his fitness gets back, he's going to be in a really good place, look stronger than when he arrived. Yeah, and I thought we see some good signs when he arrived. My problem was last season is the fact that when we started the season, we were playing 4-1-4-1, which suited him more because he was a lone DM. He suits the lone DM more than the pivot role. And he was shielding the ball well. What my favorite attribute of him, he likes doing this, like he's covering the whole fucking pitch. But he knows exactly what he's doing because he's a command in between the two centre backs. And then when we went to the 4-2-3-1, the rigid 4-2-3-1 that Moyes loved, it kind of hindered his game because naturally in that Moyes system, you go over the midfield to like long ball it down the channels, etc., which didn't get him on the ball enough, and he can pass in between the lines. And it helped, and that will help us in possession a lot more because if he's naturally picking up the ball as well, and Rodriguez does this, as you said, Rodriguez picking up as well. And he's good at picking up the ball as well. And in big games, I'd play probably them two together. If you want to tweak it a little bit and have a bit more physicality, because that would be a rock solid midfield if we can still keep our principles. They're both like Rodriguez isn't shit on the ball; he's all right on the ball. And Alvarez is good on the ball, and they can progress the ball quite well through the lines and stuff. Then that's fine by me. I don't expect Alvarez to play against City. So, yeah. And do you know what, Damien? This is the best comment of the night so far. Our talent is carrying us through the games at the moment, not the coaching. That's my problem. Because even today, we scored a handball goal, but it was Mohamed Kudus that came on and changed the game today. And no surprise, Mohamed Kudus is a special player. It's one of the most... Joy is... I was thinking about this today. I've not seen a player become this much of a cult hero this quickly since Dimitri Payet. Because when Payet came through, instantly first season, that man did not need any adapted to shit. The guy was better than the Premier League. The guy was better than most players in the Premier League, barring probably at the time, the Yaya Tourés, Eden Hazards, Alexis Sanchez's, them type of players. Like, barring them, like, in terms of, like, going forward and stuff like that, he was one of the better attackers in that league, and he was only there for a season and a half. And he became a cult hero, and like every time you hear his name, the fans would get up for it. Kudus is becoming that, where he's becoming one of the better attackers in general in the Premier League, whilst being a West Ham United player. That man is picking up the ball in all sorts of places, driving with the ball, giving any defender hell no matter what club they play for, drawing four defenders to him at the same time and keeping the ball and driving with the ball and dribbling and all that and attacking properly. I've not seen a man like it. Ugh, fucking hell, I haven't barely had any drinks all night. Kudus is the best player I've seen at West Ham between Tevez and Payet for second. I really wish I got to see Tevez at the West Ham shirt. I only got to see him at the back end of United and Man City. Oh man, I know Tevez was only there for a season, but man, that's someone that I've always wanted to see in a West Ham shirt. Rice as well. I love Kudus. Yeah, bro. Payet, Rice, and Kudus are the best three players I've seen at West Ham. Uh, Payet for sure, definitely clear first. Obviously, Paquetá as well, Bowen as well. Um, I love watching Carlos Tevez for Man City. So if he was in an era where he could play for us for longer, I would have loved him. And we just shout it's a victory. Yes, we did because we didn't deserve it. We didn't deserve it. But actually, to be honest, I always use the phrase. I never used the phrase deserve because you earn it by scoring more. But they were better than us in the second half, and it was quite even in the first. I thought 0-0 was quite fair in the first half because the only time a keeper got tested was when they tested Fabianski right at the end. By the way, big up to Fabianski, commanded this box very well and made a fantastic save in the end of the second half. So big up to him. I love the fact that we've got two good goalkeepers that I can trust. Tevez was a dog, bro. Honestly, I love watching Tevez for City. So only good thing was we got to see the new boys play. We was always going to look shit, to be honest. I remember I was at Upton Park at the season. We nearly got relegated. Tevez, there was this situation, bro. Tevez would have been a player I would have loved to have seen. Like I missed out on a lot of. Don't get me wrong. Like a lot of the older fans will be like, "You should be grateful for now." And yeah, I may have seen. Oh, yeah, I'm not old enough. But Di Canio, like the fans that are older than me got to see Di Canio. They got like some are even old enough to see the Bobby Moores of the world. Some are old enough to see the Alan Devonshires and the Trevor Brookins and stuff like that. I've seen Roger Johnson and Carlos Sanchez and Jack Wilshere and Havard Nordveit and Gökhan Toure for fuck's sake. He started pressing the left back, the left centre back, the right centre back, and then the right back right across the line. The Canio was pure class for us and John Hudson. I heard, like, listen, I talked to my parents one time about, like, because my parents are West Ham fans, like, they will always tell me about the older West Ham players. And I remember watching, I just went through a rabbit hole on YouTube when I was watching the highlights from the 80s team. And I was just watching Alan Devonshire play the football. I was like, on worse pitches, with worse footballs, in worse conditions, where times where sports science wasn't a thing, and these players are playing like that. And you've got players that are playing on these proper pitches and they can't even pass 5 yards. Fucking hell, man. I was born in the wrong era of football. I was born in the wrong era of football. I needed to be born way older where I got to watch the Mavericks of the Premier League just play all the time. Bro, we're watching. Look at what we're watching in football now. You got Mudryk play for Chelsea. You got Garnacho play for Man United. These are shite players. Shite. You got fucking Doku play for City. Doku has managed to make it to Manchester City, for fuck's sake. There is no Eric Cantonas of this because I didn't get to watch these players. There is no De Canios. There's no Joe Coles of football. There is nothing like that in football today. And I'm just going on a big rant about football, but you know what I mean, man. The right back had to clear the ball, and Tevez tried to block you with a diving. Bro, that's proper work rate. Like if we're giving credit for work rate, that is proper work rate. What happened to Aaron Cresswell today? I think he got injured in a warm up, so Wan-Bissaka came in at left back because I think the manager wanted to rest Emerson. I jumped up as shouted, "I love you, Tevez." The whole crowd were laughing at me. Tevez was sent from God to save our sorry asses, bro. That is one of the best stories in West Ham history. Like him saving up, like not single-handedly, but you know what I mean, like because I wasn't there. But that great escape story is always great. Like I do go back and watch old highlights even before my time from that Man United game. I don't even get to see a win at Old Trafford now. We haven't won at Old Trafford since, like in the league anyway. There used to be better individual players back in the day. Oh, bro, I was made for individual. Like, don't get me wrong, I grew up in the 2010s era where it was kind of in the development of we're getting to the part where we're going to have systems and we're just going to have robotic things. But even then, you had Alexis Sanchez at Arsenal, you had Eden Hazard, um, you had Yaya Toure, you had Aguero when he was like on it, like fully fit. Like that was still way better than what I'm watching now. The quality of football is dog shit. That's why people are hyping Yamal up so much at 16 because it's not just for what he's doing at his age. Even if he was 24, that guy is still better than anyone else, pretty much in football, let alone just the Premier League. That's why people are praising Yamal so much. Give me a good maverick footballer today. There isn't one. Look at what we're watching in football. It is dog shit. Football is shit. Football is fucking shit, man. It's tippy tappy football now. It's too tight now. Teams don't have glowing weak links like they used to. What it used to be as well, like tactics always used to like happen. Like people pretend like there wasn't. It's just like as you guys said, it's less robotic, it's less system based. Where, for example, the tactic used to be okay. They've got their best player. I'm gonna order you to follow him, and that'll be the tactic to stop their best asset. Bro, there used to be some fat bald geezers like Alan Hutton playing football, and he used to like go target them 1v1. No 5'6" chubby right back like Alan Hutton, bro. Like Alan Hutton was the first one that came to mind when you talking about chubby right backs. That man looked like he should work at Ladbrokes, bro. Like people would be like, target that fat guy because that man is gonna need like you got Luke Shaw, man. He's fat, but he's not bald. It's not the same, man. They don't look like pub men. Agreed. It's all about the managers, not the players. And this is what comes back to what it. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. He wasn't bad, but it was just like when you talk about chubby guys in football, that was the first person that came to mind, especially right backs. Um, and this circles back to what is happening now, what happened in the game that we just watched. This is what it circled back to. As you said earlier, Damien, it's not about the coaching that's got us through games. It's about individual talent. Because think about the goals that we scored against Crystal Palace. Forget the fact that Suchek and Bowen scored. Wan-Bissaka and Kilman pretty much made those goals. Like, to an extent. They made about 60% of those goals. Yes, Bowen still had to do most of the work for... Well, do a lot of the work for both of the goals. And Suchek had to be there. And Fulkrug and Paquetá had to be there. But these are individual moments. These are individual moments. This is... Look at Neil Ruddock, lol. R9 was the chubby master. This is what we're looking at now. We're looking at individual moments, something that I criticised Man United for. So from when they had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Erik ten Hag as manager, throughout the whole time, throughout these past 5 years that I've watched Manchester United, they've just had individual moments because of the lack of coaching they've had. This is what we're looking like. Because even last season, where it was like, oh, it's all going well. I don't know why West Ham fans want Moyes out when they're fourth at Christmas or whatever it was, or sixth or whatever it was. Then look at them, they're doing so well. It was individual moments. Individual. For fuck's sake. I had this last season as well, where I was talking about, I can't remember 10 good games we played. I think it was in like February. And I was like, give me 10 good performances. And they were saying Newcastle at home was one of them. Newcastle at home was one of them. We drew 2-2 and we bottled a 1-0 lead. We did the same thing in that game where we scored a goal and we sat back and it ended up becoming 2-2. Mohamed Kudus, please come and save us, sort of thing. I agree, Mike. It's like playing someone who has a better team than you on FIFA. Even though they are shit, they still win. Exactly that. It's like, for example, yeah, you got this guy. I'm going to go into this analogy now. You set it up perfectly. Your friends coming around to play you at FIFA, or you're playing them on the PlayStation, the Xbox in like 1v1 online, whatever. And you're like India. I say you come up to me, India, Accrington Stanley, all the one-star teams. I could say India because I'm half Indian. Accrington Stanley, AFC Wimbledon, whatever. And they've got France or PSG and now Real Madrid. And they're just running with Mbappe at you. And they get the goal. But you create more chances with this Indian team, with this Accrington Stanley team, with all these one-star players, whereas fucking this 57 rated striker that's got like 13 shooting. and you're peppering them. But they score with Mbappe because it's Mbappe, even though they barely know how to play the fucking game, and they win. I'm not comparing Bournemouth to playing like Accrington Stanley on FIFA or anything, and say with Palace, but we won because we put our chance away to like from a lucky moment because of individual talent that we had. With Palace, we played well in defence. We played well in the press with the second half. I said these things, but we didn't play well going forward. We weren't great in possession. The attack looks so discombobulated. The attack, by the way, as well, is it's not even. It doesn't even look like a front three. It just looks like three people that are next to it, are kind of near each other. That's what it looks like. The only time we saw a little bit of link up play today was Fulcrook to Somerville. That was the one time Fulcrook got his ball to feet. That was the one time Somerville was put through on goal because no one else was giving the ball to Fulcrook and Somerville. He needs to get it right, man. This side needs to settle down. He needs to start picking consistent 11s. Way too much talent in this side to not be playing well. He has no excuse. Like, we're going to give you time if you give us something to look at. Give us something. Give us something to look at because we are defending well, but you've got to get goals in this side. I said this. If we had lost against Palace, because we're always going to lose against City, we're going to lose against City. I don't want to lose. I want to have, and I won't accept anything less than a win. That's my mentality against everyone. I don't accept anything less than a win. When we were drawing 1-1 against Tottenham last season, and people said it was a good performance, I told them to go fuck themselves because that is not good enough. I don't care about drawing 1-1 against Tottenham at home. I don't care where we are in the league. I don't care if it's relegation battle. 1-1 is not good enough. Not against Tottenham at home. I don't give a fuck about that. We beat them away from home. No matter what side we come up against, I want to win. We ain't beat Man City, but people could be like, "Oh, we ain't beat Man City in 10 years." That should give you even more motivation to break that record, not to add to that record and lose another game. This is why people don't actually have the actual mentality in this country to win anything that they want to win, because they're like, they make bare excuses. Like, it's like when Man City win the league, you'll hear Arsenal fans talking about the fucking charges. If Man City were facing Liverpool, Liverpool will go back to a refereeing decision that happened 6 months ago and say that's why we didn't win the league. They did that with the Rodri handball the last time Liverpool were in a title race. If you look at every fan base in this country, every fan base does this. One refereeing decision and you got robbed. And I used to do this as well. After that Chelsea game where the Maxwell Cornet situation, I was like, I'm not even going to talk about referees anymore because there are other chances where you can fucking defend properly. There's other chances where you can actually score more individual goals and more open play goals. No more excuses. Stop putting these fucking excuses out. So that's why I don't talk about referees anymore. I don't talk about referees because there's an excuse to put on your side. Every time last season, against Sheffield United, we were robbed. We drew 2-2 to Sheffield United, for fuck's sake. I don't care if it's our second team. You beat Sheffield United. But against Burnley, it was good. It was a good fighting spirit to come back. We were 2-0 down to Burnley at home. 2-0 down. We let Josh Cullen 1v1 us down the left-hand side. And Mount, who we released. It's like 11 men running headless chickens. Yeah, that's what it's looking like right now. Ever since VAR, I don't complain about the ref. To be honest, the thing is, the referees have even less of an excuse because they've got technology. But I don't complain about this shit because as much as I don't like it, it's not going to change. The referees aren't going to change. VARs aren't going to change. Do you know what can change? You putting the ball in the back of the net a lot more. You know what can change? You defending the goal a lot more. Those are the two things that can change. You defending the goal better. You put in more goals in the back of the net. No excuses. I don't care if the ref is against you all game. I don't care. The ref's not going to stop you putting the ball for the back of the net. The ref is not going to do that. No matter how much time you cheat. Unless it's a clear goal where there's literally zero reason to rule out the goal and they rule out every single time you put it in the back of the net, then it's completely rigged and it's so far out of your hands. But that doesn't happen in football. No matter how much you think you're being cheated in the game. No matter how many times you think you're being fucking cheated in the game. That does not happen. And people are also going to be like, but this is what you wanted and all that. This is not what I fucking wanted. It's not what I wanted. If it carries on like this is not what I wanted. And I'm willing to give patience if you show me a reason to. We've got talent for a reason. It shouldn't take it like when I'm going to use the same examples every time. When Unai Emery came into Aston Villa, you saw exactly what he was going to do. It took a little bit of time. If you're a good enough coach, it doesn't take as much time as you think. You've been backed this summer. Fix it. Fucking fix it. And people are going to think that we've lost from me complaining about this match. Bro, it was shit. It was a shit performance. There's no agenda here. I got behind. I didn't want Lopetegui in the first place because it wasn't even a fact about him. It was more for the fact that I didn't think it was a Staden decision. As soon as I thought that Staden brought him in, and it was pretty much confirmed that Staden had the choice of transfers and managers and leading everything, then I'm like, okay, I'll get behind him. So let's give me a reason why. Give me a reason why to carry on my hope and highs with you. Please. Please. Because I want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. With all these players as well, you better succeed. Telling people to fix their mentality now, the talent is there. The talent is very much there. And especially now that we've signed defenders, we have more than a balanced squad. More than a balanced squad. Wait for the window to close. He will stop playing around with things so much. I hope so. I hope so. No, this is the thing though. Like Tim originally wanted Ruben Amorim, but he went for Lopetegui because Amorim it didn't work. The reason why it's not a Sullivan appointment anymore is because Staden would have left, and if Staden was in charge of the manager's appointment, he wouldn't be in charge of the fucking transfers now. So you can't really get either or. You know what I mean? Do I think that this club is willing to pay compensation for a manager? That's a whole different conversation. I think out of the free agent managers, that's who Staden would have more wanted than anyone else in terms of free agent managers. Because I think he knew that the likes of Fonseca was going to go AC Milan, for example. And the fact that we were even willing to negotiate with Amorim maybe proves that we might be willing to pay compensation for a manager. But I think also the reason why we got Lopetegui is because ideally as well, we wasn't able to get the Stuttgart manager because he had just signed a new contract. So I think if he didn't sign a new contract, he'd be our manager right now. But that didn't work either. But listen, he's our manager now. He's our manager now. Oh yeah. I tweeted this out because I was just laughing. Like it doesn't really matter to me. He's like fifth choice winger now. Supposedly Corey was playing up on Instagram. Not that anyone should care. He's irrelevant. He pretty much tweeted. No, he put something on Instagram like about timing and all that, and then someone commented like "see you later," and he liked the comment. I just thought it was funny. Like don't get me wrong. I didn't. I wanted it to work for him. But he didn't come back off that injury that well. Don't get me wrong. I think he should have got more game time last season. As when he did come on, he contributed to two goals, and didn't get any sort of playing time. But I wanted him to get a proper preseason. He didn't look that sharp in preseason, and we've got to move past the players instead of hopium and copium and sentiment. But nobody wants Maxwell Cornet. We've seen clubs linked all summer, but nobody's going to get these players. The thing is, I think he's a bum now, but I liked it. I thought he was a good player. It was a good signing at the time because of his pace and technique. But when you lose that pace, the only really real position you can play is up front, and I don't think he's going to be a good enough number 9 to play in this team. So there's kind of no point of you being here. I wanted it to work out, but here's what it is. Just eventually you got to leave. It's a 5-year project for a reason, I suppose. Yeah. But the thing is, patience is the thing that where trust is not just given, it's earned. And we will see if this manager earned the trust. And listen, Staden deserves all the credit for the transfer window. But if it doesn't work out with the manager, you are partly a reason why this hasn't worked out in a sense. However, but that's purely because you appointed him, nothing else. It's more going to be the manager's fault because you've got all the players at hand. You don't have any excuse. And don't get me wrong, I don't expect it to click first season. I don't expect us to look our best first season. I've maintained that, and I've never said that we're going to make Europe. I've never ever said that. Um, I already thought we were going to get Europe if we, addressed pretty much everything, and we knew that was impossible this window. And even then, it would have taken time to include everyone within the squad. And the league is too up and down for you to predict someone to finish so high. And I'm just naturally pessimistic, so whatever. People are saying Lopetegui out, needs to get a life. Yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to say that now. I don't care about that kind of stuff right now. 3 games in, there's going to be people out there that are just going to say that don't support Lopetegui purely because they wanted David Moyes. And you get people tweet out like, "I can't wait for us to fail this season to prove everyone wrong," because they care more about being right than they are West Ham fans. But that's stan culture on Twitter. It's pretty much like you're putting on a persona almost, rather than you actually being a football fan. Like, God knows if half of these people on Twitter actually support the club that they claim to, and whether they think this opinion they do, they're just trying to rattle people because they know that will get likes and retweets. And they know people are just as stupid enough to agree with them. You know what I mean? I said he should have a go at left back this in preseason. I think even then he would have got torn apart 1v1. So there probably isn't really a place for him. He needs to go like in a 3 at the back side, maybe where he can play wing back or some shit. Maybe a Southampton or something like that. Because Southampton play 3 at the back. So far, Moyes is better at using the attackers in our team than J-Lo. I don't even think. I'm going to come to that in a bit. It's weird now. It's weird because now we're good at defense, but our forward isn't working. I do prefer Bowen. I don't prefer no. Bowen up front doesn't work because he drifts out to the right too much, and you get more out of him on the right. But if you look at the goal against Crystal Palace, he's not going to get in those positions when playing up front. Yes, he scored today. He did score today. But if you look at the main times where he was playing up front, he still got goals more from the right channel than he did right in the box, where you got that movement to get the best out of people. But I don't like Bone up front. I don't like Bone up front. I like Bone on the right. To cut in and just shoot. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't have the movement to play up front. The natural striker movement, the natural striker instinct. I know he did it at Hull as well, but nah. I'm going to do this on Friday, Warrior. I'm going to do this on Friday because that's what I do. The whole match previews and where I get the lineup, up. But whatever I line up with, Lopetegui ain't going to line up with. But watch out for Friday's preview at 10 p.m. I'll be doing the lineups then. I've got a preview hopefully with Hamza at 8 p.m. on Thursday as well. So we'll be doing 2 previews, one where I'm just solely talking to you guys and one where we've got a guest on. So if he is going to juggle, if he isn't going to stop juggling after the window, then it's going to work. And we're going to see the outline of what we're trying to do, etc. But right now, I ain't seeing that. Bro. Yeah, Advil. What's Advil? Yeah, I don't even know if the preview Hamza is 100% going to happen, but he said he was free Thursday at PM. So, so far that's what the stream's going to be. So watch out for that as well. Yeah, that's why I wrote so far. Let's give him time. Let's hope he stops juggling too much because I'm not liking Sushi being the player who was getting the most minutes on the pitch. I'm getting PTSD from last season from seeing that. But even with going back to your earlier comment, Scott, where Moyes is better at using the attackers, I would say even last season he just put them players there and almost just waited for them to get individual moments rather than actually using them. I just think he just put players and just like, fuck it, vibes. That's how I saw Moyes playing attackers last season. I would say in the past where we played on the counter really well. I think, he used the attackers very well, but I don't even I guess the bar is low. I don't know. Once Alvarez gets back to being a 90-minute player again, I think we'll see things a bit more clearly. I hope anyway. Needs a plan A, sorry. I think it's not even just him. It's just certain players that shouldn't be playing every game. There's certain players that are from the old crop that shouldn't keep their space. There's certain players that need to play. This is all my opinion as well, but I don't think we're going to see the best of this team unless we see serious change within what we saw from last season. If it's not going to completely change from last season, it isn't going to completely change on the pitch. I think the reason why this happens, and I saw this in the Betway Cup as well, I don't think the wingers are going to track back that much unless it's going to be in certain games. The problem was and because I sit so high up, I can see it like tactically. Is that Fulcrum sits pretty much in between the wingers. The wingers get on the centre backs, and then Bowen dashes off there. And because they didn't have like an out and out right centre midfielder, what's it called? Ward Prowse was sticking to him as the left centre mid. So Wan-Bissaka can stay on their winger, and then Ward Prowse can cover that wing back space, where Somerville can just stay on the centre back space, because otherwise he's going to have to keep running up and down, running up and down. But we will see. Like, the thing is, in this system as well, even in the Betway Cup, the wingers didn't track back as much anyway. And yes, it's pre-season, but with the general plan A, or the best players on the pitch or whatever, the general plan, I don't think the wingers are going to track back that much, unless it's going to be like in the games like against Aston Villa, where Bowen had to sit as a right wing back for the last 10 minutes of the game whilst their left back was hugging the touchline. I think it's just going to adjust in certain games. Hamza will give you a headache, lol. We'll see. I mean, I will give him more of a headache than number 28 does. How was Tadibo? I saw your tweet, and it looked like you liked his performance. It was okay. Like, I think it was an okay debut. Like, it was. He did make some rash decisions. I think he needs to be better with his passing, but this is his first 45 minutes starting. My thing with Tadibo was he looked more comfortable on the ball, and the problem was he was doing stuff good on the ball. And I think Euro Expert actually tweeted this quite well, where he's going to have to get used to a lot more players that are not as good as technically as him on the ball, because once he receives the ball well, the people on his side are the Czech boys, and the only other player next to him that's just as good, if not better on the ball than him, is Max Kilman. So when he gets the ball, who's he going to pass it to that's just as good? No one. I don't know why he came off at half time. When Mavropanos came on, he was 10 times worse. He was getting run by Evan Nilsson. He was getting run in, but I talked about that earlier. But it is his first start. And he'll get used to it. But I think he's gonna grow into it. He just needs to get used to playing. I don't know why he came off at half time. I'm hoping it's not an injury. But even if it is, it might not be serious, and he might just miss the Man City game. And listen, I don't think Mavropanos should play. Like, I'm in a bit of a dilemma where I think either Mavropanos shouldn't play against Erling Haaland, or Tadibo shouldn't play because it's going to be his first league start, and he's going to be threaded deep in against Manchester City. And I wouldn't play Aged. I'd rather do really bad things than watch Aged play against Erling Haaland again. But even Max Kilman's played really well. He's going to have a hard game against Haaland. He's going to have a bad game against Haaland, just my opinion. Not because he's shit, because it's Erling Haaland. O'Reilly would have been great Pakataka, but I wanted O'Reilly. I think he would have been decent as an 8-10 option, like in both positions. He's very underrated, and Southampton and Brighton and Atalanta were all interested in him for a reason. We were kind of just he was kind of just there on our shortlist, but I think the manager really wants Solar. I noticed that Mikesy was dealing with a technically poor right side. Yeah, he was. That's why I've been harsh on Mavropanos at times, but that's why I said him and number 5 cannot play together. But they also make mistakes when playing next to each other. I'm going to end it there, by the way. I wasn't even meant to go on for this long, but an hour is enough to talk about that whatever that was today, whatever performance that was today. It didn't really feel like we won, but join me for 8 p.m. tomorrow, where we hopefully have a preview of Hamza. And then the next day, on Friday, we'll have the extended preview, where it's just me talking to you guys, me talking to the chat, talking with the proper Manchester City preview at 10 p.m. Yeah, Riley has got Brighton. So we'll be doing 2 Manchester City previews. And then we'll have the match reaction of the Manchester City game on Saturday. So there'll be 3 streams in a row. I don't know if I'm going to do a deadline day stream. I don't particularly care about deadline day. Nothing's going to happen on Sunday. But listen, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. Social medias are in the description, I think. If you want to follow me on the email for the inquiries, if not, they're in the description of other videos. At GV on Mike's on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Yeah, today was a botched W. It was a botched W. But yeah, come and join me tomorrow at 8 p.m.